Welcome everybody to the live. I didn't even realize I started. How's everybody doing? If you are here, this is the world of floaters, and I talk about everything that has to do with iFloaters. Be sure to press the like button and press the subscribe button right now. And before we get started, how about one more time before we truly get started? All right, everybody. Now, we can officially start. Welcome to the live discussion. I'm just gonna wait for people to just pile on in and come in, join as they do with the next hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Or anyways, I just want to have an open discussion about iFloaters, about how your experience with iFloaters are, what your iFloaters look like. If you have any questions for me, this is just an open discussion. It's one of those streams. I don't have any set in stone topic for this particular video. And if you've seen maybe like a few months ago, I did a very, very similar stream where I pretty much just hung out for like an hour and just answered questions when people would come by. So if you aren't doing nothing and want to just have some talk about iFloaters and everything, I am right here for that. And I'm here to just hang out with you all. What you all think about the background? You gotta love those green screens, baby. Got some music going. So you all know that it's a chill moment. Something that you can maybe even listen to in the car. That's why we got the music going right now. So just to kind of get started, just in case you're watching this and it is not the live currently while you are watching it, I'll go ahead and tell you all my story about how I ended up with iFloaters. So it was about 4.5 years ago, and one day I was driving from Las Vegas to San Diego, and I noticed I had a little speck in my right eye, and it was just kind of just floating around. And I'm thinking, what is that? Is that a fly? You know, some kind of bug? So I shake my head. I kind of swat, and it's still there. And I'm wondering, what is that? Like, how can that still be like in my vision? I don't understand. You know, at the time, I had no idea that iFloaters even existed. So seeing that speck just in the corner of my eye, it actually freaked me out. But I figured that maybe it was from a lack of sleep or something along those lines, like something that had to do with me straining my eyes too much, maybe possibly from looking at the phone too closely or a tablet computer or whatever, some kind of like radiation thing that was attracting the iFloater towards it. I didn't know at the time. I've done no research at the time. I had no idea what an iFloater could even possibly be, right? So you know, I proceed with the drive. You know, I have that floater, but I have sunglasses at the time. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to, you know, knock out this drive and get to San Diego. At the time, I lived in San Diego, and I was visiting Vegas, just visiting. Of course, I live here now, and it's a really cool city to live. So if you've never been to Las Vegas, it's awesome. I know a lot of people around the world know where Las Vegas is and what Las Vegas is. It is the mecca of gambling. But I don't gamble, everybody. Don't gamble. If I had to give anybody advice, don't gamble. Anyways, back to the story about when I got my iFloaters. So I get back to San Diego, still have the speck in my eye. And it's just one at the time, just one. And driving me crazy, driving me all the way nuts. So the next day, I'm thinking, wow, why do I still got this speck? Let me go on Google. Let me see if you know there's any kind of answers for this. And I didn't know what to call it. I believe I probably just Googled speck in the eye or dot in the eye, something along those lines. And I would imagine a lot of you, that's probably what you did too. You just like try to describe it in Google, and then next thing you know, you got all kinds of other symptoms and all kinds of other illnesses. And oh my gosh, like talk about a hypochondriac. That's me. So I'm searching on Google and I'm like, okay, speck in the eye. This has gotta be some kind of answer. And eventually I saw the word eye floater. So I started diving into eye floater and I started looking up remedies and things that might possibly help. And a lot of people were saying, oh, I went to the eye doctor. I told them about this problem. They said that it was natural, that there was really nothing that you can do. And I'm like, wait, nothing you can do about this speck in the eye? There's got to be something you can do. Like, there's absolutely has to be something you could do. Excuse me, took a sip of my coffee there. So I said, you know what? I'm getting a lot of bad feedback on Google right now. And I'm thinking that maybe I should go to the eye doctor. I should go and describe what I'm noticing and see if the doctor can give me any kind of answers. And by the way, if you're just joining right now, please press the like button. That greatly helps this live. And right now, I'm just describing my experience when I first got eye floaters. And once again, this is an open discussion. So I'm open to anybody leaving comments and asking me questions or whatever you would like to do. So I go to the eye doctor, and I'm going to get to these comments next after I tell my story about going to the eye doctor. So I get to the eye doctor and I describe what I'm noticing. I'm describing the speck that I'm seeing in the eye. And this is the beginning stages of when I got eye floaters. So at the time I only have one, and I'm telling him about it. And the doctor then tells me it's natural, it's normal. It'll eventually go away. You'll stop noticing it. And I'm thinking there's no way I could stop noticing this speck that's in the corner of my eye. It's so bothersome. I can't go outside without noticing it. And it's driving me absolutely nuts. So some time goes by and I tell myself, you know what? I think the eye floaters are actually getting worse. So not only do I tell myself that, but I'm noticing this. I'm noticing that my eye floaters are getting worse. I now have like multiple specks. And so I'm thinking there's got to be something wrong. I got to have some kind of underlying disease or something that's causing this to happen. And then I go on Google again, which, by the way, is probably like the worst thing you could do. So I'm going to pause right there. I'm going to get to the comments right now. Okay, we got Hitler Lolly. Interesting name. Says pineapple doesn't work for me. Yeah, so something about the pineapple. I love the look of the pineapples, first of all. So that's why I got so many pineapples. And then also my channel, has a lot of viewers based off of the bromelain study and what bromelain has done for me and for others. Now, I am aware that the bromelain doesn't help everybody, and I'm totally aware of that. Now, this is just my specific journey and what I'm experiencing. I shouldn't have to say this in every live or in every video, but I'm not a doctor, so this is just me describing my journey. And so as far as the pineapple goes, something that I noticed is that a lot of people, they eat the actual fruit. So from what I understand and from what I've learned and studied, a little bit of study, right? I know that the bromelain is actually in the hard part of the pineapple. That is where it derives from, the hard part. Now, if you eat the pineapple itself, first of all, you're not going to get a lot of bromelain from the actual fruit part of the pineapple. Okay. And not to mention, that's a lot of sugar. So depending on what your health status is, all that sugar may not be good. So, no matter where it comes from, even if it's coming from a natural source of fruit, you can't have a lot of sugar. And who knows? I mean, a lot of sugar might even cause more issues and more floaters and things of that sort. And diabetes, by the way, is oftentimes a cause of eye floaters as well. So that's something that people might want to look into as well. That's something that I went and got my blood checked for when everything started to happen, and when I went to the doctor and my first stages of eye floaters, I wanted to know, was there some kind of other underlying disease? Because that is something that you need to look into. You do need to know if you have a retina tear. You need to know if there's a torn retina, because that causes eye floaters. All eye issues can cause eye floaters. If you have cataracts or anything of that sort. Is the music too loud, by the way? Could you all hear me just fine? I got to turn on my fan. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Had to turn on my fan. Talking about all these pineapples started to make me sweat. The upside down pineapples. I'm not a swinger though, everybody. Holler at my boy Derek. He knows all about that swinger life. I see him in the comments there. He says, yeah, he loves pineapples. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at that guy right there. You guys see, that's my boy right there. D, that's Dirty D right there. He looks like he was in middle school in that picture. Holler at my boy. So we got Reeves ERG. Sup, man? Hopefully you fully recovered from COVID. By the way, how bad was it in comparison to a flu? Like 2-3 times worse or higher? Okay. Yeah, man, that's a great question. So I got a question from Reeves ERG. He wants to know, in comparison to the flu, how is COVID? All right, so COVID compared to the flu, I would have to say is like at least 6-7 times worse. I would say 10, but I don't want to scare people too much, because if you get it, remember, you got to have that positive mindset and you got to just stay focused on recovering, because it lasts a long time. If you get hit with the actual symptoms of COVID and it really gets you, you're going to experience fevers for like a long time. You're going to get the vomiting. You're going to get a loss of appetite. What else you're going to get? You're going to have respiratory issues. It's going to be hard to breathe. Let me tell you this. I've never had a flu or a cold that lasted more than 2 or 3 days. This particular virus lasted about 3 weeks. And for 2 weeks straight, I had fevers every day, high fevers, up to 103, 103.5, those kind of fevers. My body was trying to figure out how to fight this virus. This virus is not normal. Our body has never seen this kind of virus. So it's going to linger in our bodies longer because it doesn't know how to fight it off. So that's one particular difference of a cold and flu compared to COVID, is that COVID, our body doesn't even know how to fight off COVID. So you get fevers, a lot of fevers. You're super hot and you're wondering, when is this going to end? I mean, I talk about my eye floaters and how I was on Google and trying to figure things out on Google. Man, I was doing the same thing when I had COVID. I was trying to look up if anybody else has experienced fevers for that long and the symptoms that I was experiencing with COVID. Now, it progresses as well, because like I said, our body is not really sure like how to fight off the virus. So the virus is just progressing inside of our bodies or replicating, because it's not getting fought off right away, because it just doesn't have it doesn't have the know about on how to fight off the virus. So that's why it takes a little longer. Like your immune system has to build up the antibodies to be able to fight off the virus. And I learned all this stuff like because I was on Google like crazy, and I'm not a doctor or nothing like that. I got to keep on saying that on this channel just because I don't want to get flagged for any weird reason or anything like that. But another thing is the respiratory issues. They don't even come right away. Well, for me, they didn't. But when they did, it was super weird, because like even my cough, it was not like a regular cough. It was more of a hack. Like, dude, I was like hacking, like talking about gasping for air after a cough. I couldn't even move on my side. If I got up at any point to walk to the bathroom or any kind of movement at all, it made me hack. It was a hack. I'm serious. Like I can't even describe it as a cough. I would hack for like 5-10 seconds, and then I would have literally no air. I would have to gasp. And then eventually, like after like 10 seconds, I'd get my wind back. It was a little frightening. I mean, more than a little frightening. It was very frightening, to be honest. And dude, like I'm like nervous to even go out in public anymore. Like, I feel like everybody's just gonna give me COVID again, you know. But the fact of the matter is, it took me like a year and a half to get it, and I probably have some more antibodies. But I do plan on getting a vaccine. I think everybody should have their free choice and do whatever they want when it comes to the vaccine. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, the vaccine, it gives you the spike proteins into your body, and the spike protein that comes along with the COVID virus, that's what your body doesn't understand and doesn't recognize. So when you get the virus, it just doesn't know how to fight it. Now, if you give it more of a memory, because your cells inside your body have a memory, by the way, you then know how to fight off the virus, because your body is like, oh, I've already seen this crazy little spike protein before. Let me get rid of it. So from what I understand, the vaccine, it's not necessarily going to stop you from getting COVID, but it's going to stop the progression of the COVID, and you're not going to get the symptoms as bad. So that's what I understand about the virus and what I've learned. So anyways, back to my story about when I first got eye floaters. Let me take a sip of this water. Okay. So where was I at in the story? That's right. I started to notice more eye floaters. So I go back to the eye doctor, tell them, hey, I'm seeing more eye floaters. And he's telling me it's just because you noticed that one eye floater. So that's why you're seeing more eye floaters now. And I'm thinking, like, that makes no sense. Like, how does one notice an eye floater and then all of a sudden develop more eye floaters and has the ability to notice more eye floaters? Like, it just made no sense to me. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And he said, hey, look, here's what I recommend. Go and see a retina specialist. Go and see an actual optometrist with the ability to make sure you don't have a torn retina. So I said, okay, I got the recommendation. I went and seen the retina specialist. Retina specialist looks in my eye, says, yes, I see your eye floaters. I could see them. And I said, well, how do I get rid of them? He said, there's no way to get rid of them. I'm mind blown. I'm like, what? And he also says, you don't have any other eye issues either. You're just incredibly nearsighted. And so you're able to see these eye floaters more. At the time, doesn't make sense to me, but now it does make sense to me on why we see so many eye floaters. Is because probably most of us are nearsighted. I bet you most of you who have eye floaters are likely nearsighted. So when the speck goes across our eye, we're able to notice it a lot more. And here's something that a lot of people don't really know. And I'll get back to the story, is that eye floaters do move around in the eye and they do shift over time. So if you're somebody who is just experiencing eye floaters, they do adjust over time. And they do, from my experience, they go to the bottom of the eye. I believe the bottom anyways, and maybe the top, I don't know. But they do move out of your field of vision. So if you're looking for some hope, take it from me. I've had floaters for 4.5, almost 5 years now. And that's pretty much what happens. Okay. And anyways, back to the story. All right. So I also go to, a specialist to get my blood worked on, just to make sure I don't have any other crazy things, diabetes or any of the other stuff that could be going on with the body. I don't got none of that. So then it just leads me to like this dark depression stage, because I don't even want to go outside no more. Right. I don't even want to go to the park. I don't want to take my daughter to the park. I don't want to do nothing that has to do with outside. Like, I'm starting to want to just barricade myself inside. Luckily, at the time, I was able to work at night. So I was able to, not notice eye floaters because I was working at night. And then in the daytime, I'm sleeping and then barricading myself inside and just being like super depressed and like, oh my gosh, I can't even go outside and enjoy the daylight no more. So it led me to want to figure out, what can I possibly do to, not notice the floaters as much. So I started off with flip shades. I had glasses. I didn't have prescription sunglasses at the time. I had prescription glasses, just not prescription sunglasses, which is something that I highly, highly recommend anybody who's dealing with floaters. That's something that you definitely need, is prescription sunglasses. I say this pretty much like every video. Having a good prescription helps you notice things beyond the eye floaters a much more than the actual eye floater itself. So you're able to kind of get your mind off of the eye floater. Right. So, anyways, back to the story. I have flip shades, right? And I flip the flip shades up when, I don't need the sunglasses no more, and I flip them down when I need them. And most of the time in the daytime, I would need the flip sunglasses. But it did help me not notice the dark specks as much, which is something that really, really helped. And at the time, I was also experimenting with all kinds of different supplements and things that I would Google and see, will this help? And I tried the MSM liquid drops, something that I think probably everybody, when they first get eye floaters, this is something that probably everybody tries, is the MSM drops. And I think it made my eyes worse. Like my eyes would be like in pain after like a few days of using those drops. But I did use it for like a month. And I noticed no kind of difference. Like I wanted to feel a difference, but I believe it was more of like a placebo. And unfortunately, in the eye floater community, there's tons of placebos. Something that I had to learn the hard way. I spent a lot of money on supplements and all the different so-called remedies, the homeopathy remedies and what have you, and a lot of them just flat out didn't work. And the only thing that ever did anything for me, and after like taking it for like months, was the bromelain. And the reason why I know it was the bromelain that helped was because it was literally the only thing that I changed in my diet and in my daily routines, because I take vitamins every day, right? And the vitamins never helped me. And then I started taking bromelain, and it took some time. So a lot of people, they don't realize that it does take time. Like anything that you put in your body, like it takes time for a result to start to show, right? And that's what I noticed as far as the bromelain goes. And yeah, that was what I experienced. Welcome to anybody who is just now tuning in. Be sure to press the like button. It greatly helps the channel. And yeah, if you're not sure what's going on right now, I'm just doing an open discussion. So feel free to leave comments and holler at me. I made a commitment to the iFloater community today to talk to you all and just kind of hang out and relate with each other, because I know that's one of the things that the iFloater community needs more than anything, is the relation with each other, so that we don't feel like we're in this alone. That was one of the biggest things that I felt when I first started getting iFloaters, was that I felt alone and that nobody understood me. I would try to explain it to people and they would just look at me and kind of just nod me off like, what are you even talking about? Like, they would think that I was just like tripping or crazy. And that's something that we experience, is like a loneliness in the iFloater community. Terry White says 100%. And I mean, it's only something that people who deal with the depression and with the issues of iFloaters who could probably truly relate to the fact that we do feel alone and we don't have nobody to talk to. So that's what this channel in general was created for. It's for the people who feel lonely, for the people who have the depression, for the people who are looking for answers. I myself am somebody who's looking for answers. And after going through COVID, I now have new floaters. So I'm back to square one, I feel, as far as my eye floaters go. Like I have more floaters now, and I notice them all now, once again, so I'm now beginning a new path to figure out a remedy. I'm even thinking about the vitrectomy. I'm thinking about getting the vitrectomy as well, and seeing how that could help. I know a bunch of people who got it, and they said that it helped them greatly. Haven't spoken to them in a while, so I don't know, what it's doing for them as of now and what the long-term results are. That's like my number one worry when it comes to the vitrectomy, is that I want to know what the long-term effects are, because everybody that I spoke to that received it, excuse me, I just realized something in the way here. Okay, I'm back. They had just got it like within like a year or two. So I want to know, like, are those people experiencing cataracts issues? You know, is there more issues with their eyes now post getting a vitrectomy? That's what I want to know. So I wanted to give it some time, but now that I got these new floaters, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to be working in the daylight. You know, I know how to cope with them. I know how to have the right mindset. I've been through this before, and I could do it again. So I'm here experiencing it all over again. And so here I am. I'm on the channel. I'm hollering at you all who also experienced this issue to let you know that I'm in this with you all, and we got to start looking for more answers. You know, it's time for me to start diving in to more studies and seeing what's going on. You know what's really interesting to me, actually? I have a video on my channel about gold particles from nanotechnology and how that could possibly be something that could help get rid of the floaters, right? And I put this video out like 3 years ago now. It might have been 2 years ago now. And people are starting to comment on there and ask about the nanotechnology, because when I first did that video, a lot of people didn't really understand or know if this is something that could actually help or even be inserted into the body. But guess what now? All right, I'm almost a little scared to say this. I'm a little scared because I am pro-vaccine, by the way. I'm pro-vaccine. I'm gonna get the vaccine because COVID ain't no joke. But I do have to say, from what I understand, there is nanotechnology in the vaccine. Right? I know. Mind blowing, right? So apparently the gold particles that are put into nanotechnology that could possibly help get rid of floaters, it's not so far-fetched to think that these nanoparticles could possibly dissolve the floaters. So it makes me want to dive more into that research. I don't know if any of you all seen that video that I got on my channel, but you should check it out because I spoke about this years ago, and now it's more of a possibility and more realistic, because a lot of people were thinking that it wasn't like a realistic possibility. But if there's nanotechnology and stuff going into our body, like already with the vaccines and whatnot, like it's not that far-fetched. So that's a study that I want to look into, because if I could do something other than the vitrectomy, because the vitrectomy honestly is like, it's like, it seems just scary to me. They put the tube into your eye, and pretty much, you know, they take out the liquid that you have in your eye already and replace it with a saline basically solution, and then your eye, you know, regenerates the vitreous on its own and flushes out the solution that they put in there. Okay, so I got a comment right now. And again, everybody, this is an open discussion. Feel free to comment. I want to talk to everybody who's joining. And once again, if you are here, please press the like button. It does the live episode, you know, a lot of good. It puts me into the algorithm more, and it will allow more people looking for a community within the iFloater community to be able to find this video. So I got Pratic A. Brother, please can you simulate eye floaters in your eyes? Yes, absolutely. Let me take a sip of this coffee. I grabbed the wrong coffee. 1 second. So currently what I'm dealing with is like a whole new set of 6 new eye floaters that are really noticeable. There might even be more. There's probably more. So the new ones that I got, I have a really dark blob looking like horseshoe shaped dark eye floater right now. And it's in my left eye. And my left eye has always been my worst eye. So it makes sense that I get the worst eye floaters in my left eye. But I also have a few new stringy floaters. And then I have some clear. Well, they're kind of clear. It's crazy because you can see the outline of the eye floater. You can see the outline really well, but the inside of it is like clear, and they're clumped up. They're like all clumped up like that. And that's in my right eye. And those are the new floaters that I'm dealing with after COVID. it's crazy because a lot of people tell me that after COVID, they got more eye floaters. That's wild to me. Like, how is that possible? And I said this in my last COVID video that I have on the channel. If you haven't seen that, I have a video about my experience with COVID. I talk about how the central nervous system is actually affected from COVID. This is another symptom of COVID, is that it affects the central nervous system. Now, the central nervous system, it's connected to our whole entire body, right? So if it's attacking the central nervous system, it could very well be so that possibly that's what's causing more eye floaters from the central nervous system or what have you. And like I said, like, life is like a puzzle. Life is like a puzzle, right? And when it comes to the eye floaters and the studies and everything, it seems like we're just all trying to put together the puzzle pieces to try to figure this out so that we don't have to deal with the eye floaters no more. And I salute the doctors and the scientists and the people putting in the work. The VDM project, those gentlemen, they got something cool going on where they're funding doctors who could do the research to look into it. Like, we just need more. We need more research. That's all it comes down to. It can't be just the World of Floaters YouTube channel doing all the research. Like, I got an actual life to lead here. I got to work. I got to take care of family and things like that. So, yeah. Terry White says, how did you manage to maintain the right mindset? Because my floater's been the same for years, but yet I still can't seem to develop the right mindset because I always feel the need to look at mine. Right. Man, like, I feel like I was cornered into like making myself have the right mindset because I'm not somebody who likes to let anything control my life. Right. I don't want anything to control me. And I felt like at the time when I was feeling depressed from the eye floaters, I felt like it was controlling my life in a way that I didn't want it to control me. And I knew that the only way that I would get over that, just like any obstacle in life, like, you have to have a positivity about yourself. You have to focus on what makes you happy. And like, the mind is such a powerful thing because, like, what we put out in the universe, and I'm getting spiritual on you all now, what you put out in the universe is what you get back. Manifestation is real. And I talk about things like that on this channel sometimes because it's just true, man. Like, what you put out there is what you get back. Like, instead of focusing on the negative aspects of your floaters, like, just tell the world, like, I love my floaters. I love them. Right. And when you see them, like, try to play a game with them type of thing. Like, get out of my way, you bug, or, oh, I see you. Yeah, get out of the way. It sounds crazy, but I mean, honestly, like, it's just one of those things that you have to overcome on your own because not everybody experiences this. Like, think about somebody who has one leg, right? Imagine how depressed somebody with one leg feels. Right. Or even a blind person. Like, imagine like the depression that can come into any disability that somebody might have. Like, think about those aspects of it. And those people have to overcome that at some point. They have to learn how to live with it. So it's the same thing with eye floaters. And in my opinion, I believe that eye floaters are, it's a disability. Like, honestly, like, it should be considered a disability to a certain extent, because it does debilitate a lot of people who have them, who have dozens of them in each eye. Like, it's super distracting, right? But you have to figure out a way to overcome those obstacles. And that's pretty much like what I did, is that I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this run my life. I'm going to figure out a way to deal with them, to cope with them. And eventually I started to not notice them as much. And I felt like some of the supplements I was trying was helping, like the bromelain, right? Like, I talk about that all the time. Some people, they understand, and some people they don't. That's besides the issue, though. Besides the point. But I mean, all in all, it was just about just overcoming that. Now I got to do it again because now I have a lot of noticeable eye floaters again after COVID. But what are you gonna do, man? You're either gonna sink or you're gonna swim. It's like that in with every obstacle in life. I appreciate the question, Terry. That was awesome. Praddick says, same here, left eye thread shaped, little bit blurry. Yep. Some of them appear blurry. It's interesting. It sure is interesting and very bothersome. But you know, once again, hopefully over time some of them shift. What I find interesting, Terry, is that you say that none of them have changed for years, and I'm wondering why none of them have changed in so many years. Like, have you ever tried to like take any kind of supplements or do anything that might help you in that aspect with your eye floaters? Like, have you done any like solo research or anything along those lines? Because I know I have. Like, I go on Google like crazy, DuckDuckGo like crazy. I don't want to say that too much though, because that's another like bad word on the internet now. DuckDuckGo, because it's supposedly the uncensored Google. So you go on Google and you search anything, like you just get a whole bunch of fact checks and like everything has to be verified and whatnot. Like sometimes I want to know from people like Dr. Sebi and the homeopathy doctors. I want to know like what they got to say too, because all of that is censored off of Google and social media and whatnot. And there's many answers that you can get on on honest blogs and honest websites and whatnot, but they are a little hard to find on Google because everything is just based off advertisement on Google, so you never know what's real and what's not, because all they're trying to do is just make money, right? All they're trying to do is sell stuff. So anytime you do a search, you're getting nothing but advertisements. And I can't trust advertisements because they're just trying to make money off me. I'm not mad at anybody for trying to make money. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do to make money. So I'm never mad at the companies for trying to make money, but I want real answers and I want real possible solutions. You know what I'm saying? Open discussion, open discussion. All right. 1 second, everybody. I want to type a banner for any of you who might be coming in right now and wondering what is going on. Please leave a comment and join the discussion. All right. Okay, we're going to make that a banner like this. Boom. Please leave a comment and join discussion. All right, so back to the comments here. What is your real life profession? I love that. I love that question because I don't even know how to describe my real life profession. I'm a podcaster. I'm on the computer a lot. And, so I'm in front of radiation all day and whatnot, constantly making graphics and constantly uploading and looking at bright screens, which, by the way, is something that I think has something to do with our eye floaters. And I'm about to dive into that. I'm about to dive into that right now, actually. Why not? Because it's an open discussion. All right, so check this out. People used to not get eye floaters until about the age of like 60 or later on in life. And I know this because my father, he had eye floaters like at the age 56, right? So if you do any kind of research on eye floaters, then you'll know that people used to not get them until later on in their age. And it seemed normal for eyes to degenerate around that age because people are getting older, right? All right, so here's my theory, and this is just a theory. This isn't proved scientifically, so forgive me if I get backlash for this. I usually do, and a lot of blogs and so-called researchers, they kick this theory to the curb. They myth bust it, but Hear me out. So all of the computers and tablets and things like that didn't come out until really the late 90s, early 2000s. So recently, people very young started getting eye floaters, something that people used to not get until they were older in life. Follow me now. We didn't have all of the older generation, they didn't have all of that technology until they were in the 2000s. So they were probably around like 40 or around that age when all of the tablets, computers, and smartphones started coming out, right? So if people weren't getting eye floaters until later on in life, they didn't have all of the technology when they were children and in their early 20s and 30s and whatnot, right? So they didn't get eye floaters till later on in life because all they had was a television. But now you take the new generation of people like me, like you, right? We had all right, we had all of the tablets and everything when we were probably in about high school. And then we started getting eye floaters probably around our late 20s, early 30s, right? It just makes perfect sense that the blue light from all of these technologies that we use now, the computer screen, the tablet, the smartphone, it just makes sense that that has something to do with our eye floaters. Maybe it's because the blue light strains our eyes and it takes away more of the, I can't think of the terms for it. I have a video for this on the actual channel, on the channel you're watching right now. I have a video about the blue light where I read actual articles that prove this theory a little more right, but it makes us sleep less, right? Have you ever laid in bed, looked at your phone, and you can't go to sleep until you put your phone down? I mean, I'm that way. Or if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and then you look at your phone and now you're up. It's because the blue light from the phone makes us wake up. What was that? My bad, y'all. I just got a notification on my phone. I'm playing the music off of my phone. So I think that the technology that we use has a lot to do with the eye floaters that we're getting. All right, so Jacob Springer says, love your good vibes, man. Mind over matter. I look at it like it's my life and the floaters are just along for the ride. Boom. I had to do a little bomb explosion on that one right there. That is so true, man. That is so true. And I'm getting text messages now. 1 second. Open discussion. Leave a comment. Doing a live on World of Floaters. Yeah, man. All right. Yes, the positive vibes, mind over matter. It's so true, man. If you look at it like the eye floaters are just along for the ride, then it's much, much easier. The more you focus on anything negative, the more you're gonna have to deal with the feelings that it brings you, But if you look at it like, hey, this is something that I'm dealing with, and it is what it is, then you overcome it. I mean, it's just simple. It's simply put, like you just gotta have that positive vibe, man. That's all it comes down to. Because think about how much worse it could be. Like I mentioned it just 10 minutes ago, but like blind people. Some people are actually blind and can't see anything at all. Think about that. Some people actually can't see. We could see still. We just have these little things that are in the way, If you look at it like that, then how much better your outlook would be. No pun, outlook. But honestly, like so much more of a better outlook comes from just knowing that we are truly people who have something to be thankful for. We can actually see still. It's no different than being outside and think about the people who live in like Missouri and there's tons of bugs flying around and stuff because like the places with more of the humidity get more bugs or whatever. Just think about those huge mosquitoes that fly by, and everything that's out there, the huge horse flies and stuff, is no different than having to swat at those all day. At least with the eye floaters, we could just shake them, put on some sunglasses, and just try to never mind them, for the most part. It's something that I'm gonna have to start dealing with a lot more, since having to deal with COVID and developing new eye floaters and whatnot. But hey, man, we're gonna get through this. It's not gonna be an issue. It is not gonna be an issue. And if you are somebody who's struggling with the depression from eye floaters and having issues having positive vibes and whatnot, I do have a video on this channel on the World of Floaters. It's called Positive Affirmations. And I would recommend repeating the things that I say. I made that video specifically to help you discover the positive vibes that you have within yourself if you're having troubles finding those positive vibes. That video is specifically for you if you're going through depression right now. And I would hope that the people that you would find that video. I mean, I literally made it specifically for you. So Terry says, no, I didn't take any substance or anything recently. I seen an optometrist and he told me that my vitreous is still attached and the floaters that I see is actually vitreous changes. Yes. Well, what's causing the vitreous changes? That's that's the question we all have, is like, what is causing the vitreous changes? Like, why are our eyes going through these changes? Why? It has to be technology. That's the only thing that I can come up with in my mind, but of course you say those kind of things and you're just like some crazy lunatic on YouTube, coming up with conspiracy theories and whatnot. We're not even going to talk about all the radiation that's coming from 5G towers and stuff like that. Oh, I just said another thing that's gonna make people want to cancel the channel. No. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully not. Hopefully more and more people find this channel so that more and more people don't feel lonely. Were you diagnosed with vitreous detachment? No, I was not diagnosed with anything that would, label my eye, injured or anything along those lines. Jan C. Foxhound, do you think monitor with blue light reduction would help? Man, I totally think that. I get blue light glasses too, to try to help with all of the blue light that's being shined upon our eyes pretty much like all hours of the day. Like literally everybody's attached to their phones and has blue light just beaming at them all day. And oh my gosh, I'm seeing so many floaters right now. I got my selfie light on and my screen is white right now, so I'm seeing so many floaters right now. I just noticed them. But see, that's what I'm talking about right there. Like with my new floaters that I got after dealing with COVID, like I have been able to, for 48 minutes now, this stream has been going for 48 minutes. I have been able to pretty much ignore them the whole time, just staying positive, right? But I just had a fat floater go across the screen, something that I'm sure a lot of you deal with too. But you see what I did though? Hold on. Did anybody see what I did though? When it went across my screen, I shook my head real quick and I came back. Now, not noticing it. I'm sure it'll come back in like 1 minute though. Ooh, just saw another one. You know what I noticed is like some of the ways that we move our head too, some of the like certain movements that we make, like pay attention to that, because certain movements do make certain eye floaters, shift into your field of vision. Like I notice when I'm driving the car and I do that kind of look to see if there's anybody in my blind spot. Every time I come back, I have a floater come from like this angle and whoo. So, obviously you got to drive safe. So I have to do those head movements. But if there's like head movements that I can do that, I know that won't cause like for like a million eye floaters to go all over the place, I try to not do that. Like if I'm at home or something like that, Let's see here. We got Paddock. I had my eye floaters because of eye conjunctivities. I know that word. I've seen that word. Let me just look it up real quick so I could talk about it. Conjunctivitis. That's right. Conjunctivitis. Inflammation or infection of the transparent membrane that lines your eyelid and eyeball. That's characterized by redness and gritty sensation in your eye, along with itching. So, all right, I know where I've seen that word before now. A lot of people who wear makeup deal with this actually, and a lot of times it's because the bacteria that grows on the the mascara sticks and the different tools that people use for makeup. I don't know if you wear makeup or if there's like something that's getting around your eye that's causing you to get like certain bacterias and stuff, but a lot of people do get conjunctivitis from, you know, things that put bacterias in the eye, and it does inflame the eye. I knew I seen that word somewhere. I have a video on the channel about that as well, actually. Like one of my like earlier videos, like I think it was like my third video, and it was about makeup and how maybe makeup could be causing some people to get eye floaters because of the conjunctivitis. Okay, what's your number of prescription eyeglasses? I mean, that's a good question. I don't know that by heart. I would have to look at the actual paper. What makes you ask that question, Praddock? Is there a certain prescription that you would like? Because everybody has different prescriptions, and not not everybody can use the same prescription to help them. Jancy says you should use Dark Reader Google Chrome add-on. All pages are black and floaters are less visible. I hear you. I've actually tried the blackout add-ons on pretty much like all apps, but it messes with my eyes a lot. Like like when you look at the black screen and then you look at like a white wall, or I have like a bright house, right? So like anytime I'm looking at the dark screen and then I look away, like it imprints on my eyes so heavy. Like it takes like a few minutes to go away. So that's why I just deal with the white screens and whatnot. And also I feel like the more I like make myself run from the feeling of seeing the eye floaters, the more that I notice them. So I try to like just do things like I normally would, but I could see how that could help some people, the black screen. But ever since I started getting eye floaters, my eye imprints a lot more. And what I mean by imprints, like when you look at lights, like they just leave that imprint on your vision, and then it fades away after a minute or so. Like I get that a lot more ever since I started getting eye floaters. And in fact, I get glare reflector on my prescription glasses because when I drive, I the red light, the red brake lights on the back of cars, that used to bother me so much, and it was way brighter than it used to be. Very odd. I don't understand that part of the eye floaters. I'm not sure why certain lights are just way brighter to me. That's something I've never looked into, but ever since I got glare protection, it hasn't been much of an issue. Reeves ERG says, I don't think eye floaters will be ever treatable safely. We'll see. It just depends what you consider safe, because obviously like the doctors performing the vitrectomies and laser treatments or any of the other treatments, they don't want you to go blind from their surgery, or they don't want you to have any issues with the surgery they give you. So I'm sure they perform it very carefully, and they want to help other people as well. So, you know, I think there's a safe aspect to those surgeries. And, I would just do your research as far as if it's something that you're willing to do. And if you want to take a risk of possible extra, like just possible, what word am I looking for? Just things that could possibly go wrong in the future. Like I want to know like what's my risk getting a certain surgery like later on, 5-10 years later. Like I don't want to have to deal with cataracts and all of those crazy eye injuries that many people do deal with after getting specific, eye surgeries and whatnot. Like that kind of freaks me out. I'd much rather just deal with it than to have syringes in my eye and lasers and whatnot. That kind of freaks me out. But I mean, I'm not gonna act like I haven't thought about vicrectomy, and I'm not gonna act like I'm not considering it now with all these new floaters that I got after COVID. Um, have you tried atropine? Yes, yes. And it was interesting actually. I spoke about this on my Instagram. I think it was my Instagram. Oh, by the way, I have TikTok now too. So if you have TikTok, you can follow me on TikTok as well. All right. So and the atropine. So if I'm not mistaken, the atropine is typically used for dry eye syndrome. I'm not confusing that with something else, am I? I don't think so. I believe that atropine. This is something that I believe I looked up like years ago. So I think COVID messed with my memory a little bit, to be honest. But I believe it's used typically for dry eyes, and I felt like it was helping actually for a little bit, and then it just started bothering my eyes too much. Like putting any kind of liquid drops in your eyes just always hurts after a while. I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but like even if you use like regular eye drops, I'm sure many of you can relate. Like it hurts after a while. Like if you do it for like a week straight, like your eyes will just be so sore, and you have to take like Tylenol and things like that to deal with it. So yeah, I just rather not have kept on using it. Myopia causes more eye floaters. I'm sure it does. I am totally sure it does. And if you all don't know what myopia it is, it's something that it's pretty much nearsightedness, and that's something that I have. And from what I understand, a lot of people with eye floaters do have nearsightedness. I feel like everybody has nearsightedness now because of just constantly like looking at your phone and whatnot. Like, look how close like we look at our phones, right? Like, look at that. We all do that. That causes nearsightedness. I don't know if you guys know that. Something that I discovered from being an eye person. All of a sudden, I'm like the random eye person. It's funny because like whenever I tell people about my channel, they're like, eye health? You talk about eye health? I'm like, yeah, kind of like because I don't know what to say. Like I talk about eye floaters, on YouTube, and they're like, huh? So yeah, I just tell them eye health. I talk about eye health on YouTube and whatnot. So people who are myopic, who has a high number of prescription glasses, are likely to get eye floaters. So that's why you want to know my prescription. If you message me on Instagram, I'll get back to you. I get a lot of messages on Instagram. So if any of you have ever messaged me and I didn't respond, don't take it personal. I just like I have to answer like everybody in long paragraphs, and I just don't always have the time for that. So that's why I want to start doing these open discussions so that you know we can talk here in the comments and on a live stream. I think it's beneficial for everybody. All right, Terry White says, I really enjoy talking to you guys in the iFloater community. I hope this community can be therapeutic for everyone in it. It helps me have a positive mindset today. Thank you, man. Let's hand clap for Terry. I'm super excited for you. Let's highlight his comment here on the actual stream. Man, I definitely I made this channel for you guys and for us all to just have open discussion, to relate with one another, try to find answers, and just put the puzzle pieces together in general, because I believe that's what it's all about, is putting the puzzle pieces together, and then also the positive vibes and just having a positive outlook on life in general. Terry also says, I will be tapping in when you go back live. I'm headed to work now, but everyone enjoy y'all day. And remember, stay positive. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Terry, for tuning in. And I hope you have a good day at work. And I hope you heard this part of it. And if not, it'll be on the channel. Joanne Magpuri says, Atropine is a dilation drop, which has helped to hide eye floaters for some people. It's a temporary solution. Okay. So I was wrong about atropine. like I said, I looked into this, and I believe I used it a while ago now, and my memory on it. What was it that I used it? There must have been something else that I used. I have it on my Instagram, what I used. And I also have a picture of the Ultrapine bottle on my Instagram. I gotta look into it. But if it's used to dilate, so something that I notice about like when you get your eyes dilated, you don't see eye floaters at all. But when you get your eyes dilated, like you gotta wear like those super dark shades that they give you, because like you can't even look at stuff without your eyes being super sensitive. But I remember after my appointment with the optometrist, and yes, Joanne, I did use MSM drops, and I actually had a lot to say about MSM drops on my video where I was in the park on my YouTube channel. What was that video called? Let me look at that for you. I'm about to find out right now what that video is called so you can check it out, because I talk about MSM drops. It was the video I have that's called 10 Things You Should Know About Eye Floaters. And in that video, I talk about my feelings on MSM drops. And MSM drops, they didn't help me. In fact, they just made my eyes hurt really bad. Maybe even made my eye floaters worse at the time. But yeah, back to the whole dilated thing. I remember like when I first went to the optometrist, they, after my eyes were dilated, and I got a ride home because I couldn't drive. And I remember like once it started to fade a little bit, I was sitting in my room, and it was, I had the shades or the blinds shut and all that, so it wasn't too bright. And I took off the dark shades they give you, and I remember looking around like, I don't even see my eye floaters now, but it was because my eyes were dilated. And just think about that though, like, because when your eyes are dilated, they're huge, right? Just think about that. And you're not able to notice them, right? I think it's almost the same kind of thing if you have a really good prescription glasses, because you're able to kind of look further and beyond the eye floaters, because obviously the eye floaters are still there when your eyes are dilated. It's just that you're able to see beyond. All right, I'm gonna see what Praddock says here, and then I'm actually gonna get out of here, everybody. It's been an hour and 2 minutes now, and I gotta go get an oil change for my car. So Praddock says, thank you, brother. You had really helped me to overcome depression from eye floaters. Wishing you all the best from India. Thank you, Praddock. I really, really appreciate you for joining us here today. And one more here. We got Johnny says, what do you think of the VDM project? I think the VDM project is awesome. I actually mentioned them maybe 25 minutes ago. And I think that it's really, really cool that they're, getting a group fund together to get some researchers together to do more research on eye floaters. That's what we need in the eye floater community in general. Like I said, it's about putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and that's going to help greatly. So I think highly of the VDM project, and I do have a video on my channel about the VDM project. So with all of that said, thank you all for tuning in, and I will be talking to you all soon. I'll do another live open discussion next week. So be on the lookout. I will have it scheduled, and you can set your reminders. And if you can, press the like button on this video. It greatly helps. And Joanne says, thank you. I tuned in late. I'll watch the recording. Thank you for supporting the VDM project. Absolutely, Joanne. And thank you for joining. And everybody, I hope you all have a great day. Let's get over this eye floater thing together. I appreciate you all. Talk to you soon.